Do you have the power of Duramax? Welcome back to Pushing Technology to the Limit. Today I want to talk about the Duramax generator. This is mainly a buying guide, basically, of if somebody's looking for a generator. Maybe you are upgrading a generator that you currently have, or maybe you're somebody that's actually looking for a generator for the first time. And you don't understand some of the lingo jingo that goes on with these things. And I want to help you decide maybe not just this generator, but maybe another generator that you're looking at to decide whether to buy that one or this one. Now, I cannot say right now that to promote this as a good generator. I don't know, because this is a brand I've never had before. I just got it. So it's still, I'm still getting used to it, how it works. But I want to explain to you some things today about this generator to clean up some of the bad information that's going on around out there about things. And I'm not sure where I got into it. Maybe it was on YouTube videos, what have you. I'm not sure. A lot of the sound check videos that I've done have, whether it's comparing different, between Honda, Predator, Duramax, different types of generators that are out there, the sound quality, I just don't see how those are legitimate videos, because you gotta actually hear it for yourself, whether it's louder or softer. So, one of the things that I want to kind of clean up, and then the other thing I want to do today is explain to you the difference between inverter generators and just a generator, because there's other ones that are out there now. More of the industry is kind of gearing towards now more to the inverter generators than just the generator itself. Now let me just quickly go into that just so I can clear the air and get that out of the way. So an inverter generator is basically a power inverter. Now if you look up power inverters on the internet, that you can actually plug them into your car. What big or small, depending on what size you get. Whether you get a 1,000 watt unit or a 350 or a 600 watt unit. It just depends. But basically what inverter generator is basically that, is a power inverter powered by a motor. So instead of having to provide the motor, you've got the motor already in your generator. And that provides you the 12 volts or whatever it is that's applying to the actual power inverter. Now, what's the difference between just a regular power inverter and just a generator? Just an ordinary, just a regular, ordinary generator. The older style generators, they're kind of going obsolete now, are what they call raw power generators. And mainly, those are generators that you would use for, say, like construction purposes, because they're going to be powering motors, like drills, table saws, all that stuff. Like for some home users, they would be, in the past, they've used them for refrigerators, furnaces, etc., etc. Anything that's motor. And a motor does not care if it's raw power. But this is where it gets kind of tricky. And, if you're looking at price and you're saying, well, this generator is, say, like $1,000, and the other generator is $3,000, well, what's the difference? There is a difference in what's with them and how they're designed, how quiet they are. That's another thing with this generator, is that it's a closed frame generator. Now, what does that mean? That means that the motor's enclosed in a kind of like a plastic case kind of a thing, and it makes it quieter, kind of like the Hondas. So it makes life more tolerable when you got to run your generator. So back to the power inverters. So raw versus inverter. Now, inverters, basically, now you can get cheap power inverters, but the power inverters that come with these generators last longer and more reliable than just buying just a power inverter. Because I've had power inverters before for the like solar systems, different things like that, green energy and all that jazz. I've tinkered around with those, and they just do not last that long. And I've had a Honda generator for 20 years, and I've never really had it go bad. I mean, there's some issues with it now, but it still works, but not to my liking. Anyways, back to the other stuff I was talking about. So the inverter is basically like, picture your utility power. Your utility power company has pure, clean sine wave energy. That's what these power inverter generators do. They produce clean, pure sine wave energy that is usable on sensitive electronics or motorized electronics like furnaces, refrigerators, ACs, all that kind of stuff. So it doesn't matter. And where the regular generators, which are cheaper, that have the raw power, will hurt your TV set or anything else that's sensitive. And today, in this modern world, there's a lot more sensitive electronics out there than there are not sensitive. So, anyways, some things I want to explain to you about this generator that I like and don't like. So I say to people, I have a love-hate relationship with this generator. Why? Well, I'll tell you. So for one, it has plenty of wattage. So it's, and I'm going to go into some more details about the lingo jingle that they put on all this stuff, and some of the really good surprises I found out about this set. When if you're doing research, you might be kind of confused like I was. I was just like, all right, well, I'd rather get this because it has this, this, and this. And why I got it is because it has 7,600 running watts, and then it had electric start. And I don't have to rope pull it anymore. And for us older folks, it's a lot easier to have rope pull now, or not rope pull, but electric start than rope pull, because it's just not as friendly, especially when an older rope pull motor gets older, they get harder to start, and I found out afterwards. So, this generator has 7,600 running watts. It has 9,000 watt peak on gasoline, which means that peak means surge. So your refrigerators, AC, your furnaces, freezers, all have a surge startup on their motors. And this generator is able to handle it. And it also has 7,200 running watts on propane. Now, when I first was doing research on this generator, I was kind of assuming, and not just assuming, but from the information I received from other videos, documentation, that I was going to get a lot less on propane than I was on gasoline. Now, yes, it's 7,200 watts on propane versus 7,600. But to me, that is not a very big drop. I mean, yes, but this generator is capable of handling both propane fuel and gasoline. Now, the gasoline I have been using for years, since I found out about it, is the ethanol-free gas. The most expensive gas at your gas station. Depending on if you live in a small town like I do, which I've got to go to a city to get the ethanol-free gas. So, there you might have to do a special trip, and like I do. And in my hometown, there's nothing but the El Cheapo stuff like 87 and 89, which is all ethanol crap. And I've had a lot of problems with that. So I recommend pure, real gas in any small engine, whether it's a tractor, generator, chainsaw, weed whacker, you name it. So one of the other things that I really like about the generator is the fact that it provides me both with 240 and 120 30 amps. So that's about 3,000 watts on that unit. Now, I'm not going to go into all the technical details. I mean, there's more things that if you are a DIY person where you can do it yourself and wire things yourself, uh, there's actually plugs that come with it. I'm not going to go for all the stuff that comes with the thing because there's other videos that show you all the nitty gritties of this thing. I'm going to go into the basic details of what you need to know. Now, I was shocked because when I saw the advertisements, different videos, that when I got it, it actually was better and had more wattage than what I was assuming from reading and watching other people's videos. And that was just like, wow, this has more than I thought and what I bargained for. And I just plan to use it on gasoline rather than propane, but now since I realized that it has 7,200 watts, I'm going to use the propane over the gasoline. And I'll still have it just on hand so I can use it. But it's, from what people say is, and I'm not sure, I haven't had it that long, but I've had propane sitting around here for a long time with a gas grill, and I have never really used my gas grill in a long time. And I just plugged this in and it worked just fine. So, from what I know about from other people that have propane, that propane doesn't go bad like gasoline. Gasoline, you just got to keep flushing it out of the system. So the other things that I can say that is kind of a downfall of the system is the fact that the remote start is worthless. I feel like that they were just justifying the price by throwing in the remote start because you've got to check the oil. And, you know, that was another thing is the oil checking part of it. If you are an older person, you have back problems, you are going to have harder issues with checking this oil, changing the oil, because you got to get on your hands and knees to do it. So that's one of the major downfalls that I didn't realize that this thing had until I got it. And I'm still, like I said, I'm still in trial mode with this generator because this is my second generator. The first one I got was totally a malfunctioned unit. It was bad. And the other thing that I can say, and I'm going to kind of compare Honda a little bit with Duramax, because at least with Honda, and when I needed a question about something, whether it was, you know, the thing isn't sparking right, or this or that, or the thing isn't firing up, you know, I could call them up and say, hey, this is what's going on. And they say, oh, it's this. Well, with Duramax, you don't get that. You basically have to use their technical support. They've got a 3-year warranty, which is nice. The other bomb thing about this is that the extended warranty that I got, well, I didn't get it because I was just like, that's a waste of money, man. It was almost $500 for the extended warranty, and their extended warranty ran with the Duramax generator warranty. So it did no good to have an extended warranty. Now, you got to check the extended warranty policy on the company that you're buying the Duramax through. Make sure that it's going to be after the 3 years. But mainly, if it's been working for a year or so, you're going to know. Or, I mean, not even just a year, but it's even 30 days, and you haven't really had a problem with it, you should know it's going to work fine for you. Now, the other things that I've found that was kind of a bomb with this unit is the GFI receptacles. Certain things, like my uninterruptible power supplies, seem to shut the breakers off for some stupid reason. I'm not sure why. If I were to run my refrigerators, other devices on it, like toaster ovens and kitchen appliances, they work fine on the GFI receptacles. But some things just don't work on them, so I recommend using that twist lock connector. Now, the other thing that I can't say that's a downfall really, and I don't really have too much proof about it because I don't have another generator, but I wonder about the remote control. Can I start my neighbor's generator with this thing if they had a Duramax? I wonder, because I wonder if it's like if they're just a generic remote where it's kind of like your TV, where you can program your TV into the remote, and then you can run. If you have one brand TV in your home, say like Samsung, you can go around and turn on all your Samsung TVs with one remote control in your pocket. I wonder if it's that way, or if it's like a car where Joe Schmo has Oldsmobile, whatever model, and then Joe Schmo has an Oldsmobile this model, and it's a little bit different than the other Oldsmobile, and the two key entries, remote starts, panic alarms, do not work. I have no idea. But I do know that with talking to Duramax, it took forever. And the thing that I really wasn't impressed with the Duramax company was the fact that when I called them, I had to sit on the phone for hours. I had to wait for California time to actually call them. You got to make sure wherever you live, you got to make sure that you're calling in their time zone, not yours, because like mine's Eastern, and there's like when it's 11 o'clock here, it's 8 o'clock in California. So there's a big difference there. And, that was not very impressive. And, the fact that when I hit the technical support button, I still got a secretary. And it's like, I'm sorry, sir, they're all so busy. Well, I wonder why they're so busy. Is there something wrong with this thing? I don't know. But that's just something to kind of think about when looking into a different brand generator. And there's not too much out there of videos as far as Duramax is concerned. Now, yes, they got a lot of videos out on how to sell it, where people are like, whoa, this is really good, and all that jazz. But one of the things that I was impressed about the Duramax is how quiet it was compared to my Honda generator. Now, what I mean by that is, yes, it is a little louder because it is a bigger engine. But the thing that I do like about the Duramax over my Honda is the fact is that my Honda, when I put a load on it, it gets really loud. And not just that it gets loud, but the fact that it fluctuates a lot, and you can hear it going as the loads are coming on and off. Duramax doesn't do that. It just purrs. I mean, yes, you can hear a little fluctuation, but it's really hard to tell. When I was in the house with it running, it didn't sound any louder than my Honda. But I could tell that was different because even with my Honda, I could hear the Honda shifting gears in the low idle mode. So it would go from low to high depending on my load. Well, this thing doesn't flux that much like the Honda. And the other thing is that it has a lot of insulation around it to keep it quieter, versus the Honda has no insulation to keep any noise out. It is still both a closed case generator, but it still doesn't have any insulation. So let me show a little bit about the front and some things that I do like about the front and things that I don't like about it. And really, this is a video for you to decide what you want to do, whether you want to buy this or not. I took a chance, and maybe sometime down the future I will make another video about the generator as an update one to tell you how I like it so far. But I'm not sure. I got a lot of other things going on around here, so other videos to make, so it might be sometime in the future, but not sure. I can't give you any promises about that. So without further ado, let me get to the front of the generator and kind of give you an overview of what's going on. Now, a lot of these videos that I've seen so far don't really give you a good look at what's in this generator. Now, right here you can see that I'm actually got one jack plugged in, one plug that I'm using right now. Not when it's off, but so we're going to look through all the panel here. And I'm going to tell you the pros and cons about it. There's more pros than there are cons. But under these panels here is your GFI receptacles. Now you got about 4 of these. So if it's kind of hard to see, I'm sorry. I've got the light isn't very good in here. But let's see here, and then under here, it's the same thing. It's the GFI receptacle. Now I tried to get some better light in here for you so you could actually see what's going on, and I'm not sure if it's good enough or not. But I'm gonna unplug this for temporary so you can actually see this thing. And so this is your 120, and I mean there's two 120 prongs in here. So this one and this one, and that would be your 240. And you can actually set it up like the way I have it, where you can have 2 different AC receptacles coming out that are just 120 only. So that's quite nice. And it also has breakers, and that goes to, I'm not sure which one. One's the master one that goes to all of them, but then there's one that actually controls, I think it might be this one that's controlling this one, the 30 amp. I'm not quite sure. Let me see here. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does say right on the front here. It says main breaker. It says 120, 240, 30 amp breaker. So that one goes to this unit right here. So as we go along, the bottom here, you've got the ground, you've got your start button. I've got the propane already hooked up, because that's what I'm using. You got your gas tank. This is actually for the gasoline. This, when you turn it on, it shuts the propane off. You turn the gasoline off, it goes to propane. But you have to select it to one or the other. So you can either use the gas or the LP gas. So here's your low idle unit. Now, if you folks that have Honda generators will know what this is. But you that are just starting out will maybe not really understand what that is. But that's basically, when you turn that on, that it will, the RPMs will go up and down depending on your load. And that's one thing I like about this, is that the unit is quieter than my Honda, even with a heavy load or a small load. Now over here, let's see here, this is your start button, and then this is your start up switch. So when you push that, the whole front panel lights up. Then you just hit the start button. But I don't have any fuel on, and the door's not open. So if I keep going, this is your parallel connections. Now, if you folks that have had Hondas, and I don't know if you ever used it. I've never used the parallel ports on my Hondas, but this one has the parallel ports too. And then you've got your charging system here for like your USB. Now, the only thing that I don't like about this USB cover is that it's really horribly painful to put it back together once you pull it out. So I suggest using, I'm not even going to mess with it. So right here is your battery tender. Now it's kind of hard to see here. Let me see if I can actually get it. So this is your battery tender, and then this is your parallel connection, so that you can actually parallel something else together. I'm not sure. I don't know what that's about, but you've got that, and then you've got these two other things. I'm not sure what these two are doing over here. Well, that's basically your front panel here. So now we come around to the right side of the generator, and here we have a rope pull right here. So you can pull the rope pull it. Well, I can say for one thing that's bad about this rope pull is that it will not start the generator when there's absolutely no power in the battery. If you got a dead battery, this thing will not start. Now, the other thing I find kind of annoying is this compartment right here. Let me get down there a little bit closer so you can see it. So you can take this out, and I've got the screws off it so that I can just open it when I need to. So this is the oil compartment. This thing right here is actually to get a screwdriver into to release the oil in the engine when you need to change it. And then, because of my monopod, you can't really see it too well. Maybe you can, but it's right here is the the dipstick. I'm trying to get my camera to stand still and point to the thing here. So right here is the orange dipstick. So that is where you put your oil in. So when you go to put your oil in, you have to lean under. I'm actually leaning on a pad right now, a kneeling pad, to be able to get down close to this generator so I can actually look inside of it here to show you what is going on. Now, the way that you have to put the oil in, I find that annoying too. Let me show you that. When I need to put oil in, or if I'm taking oil out and putting clean oil in, this is the way I have to do it. Now, like I said, I'm using a monopod, so it's hard for me to hang on to everything here. But you can, so right here is my oil. Now this is an empty can, so I can actually just give you a demonstration. But this is my funnel right here. It actually is a long enough funnel. They have to give this to you so that you can actually put the oil in. So what happens is when you put this in your generator, you've got to hang on to it with one hand and then pour the oil with the other. And you got to stay on your hands and knees to actually do this. So you just can't stand up and just say, heck, I'm going to go put oil into something else as well, because that won't happen. That will just tip over and then pour all over your floor. So, the best way to do it, now I got a fix to this so that you can hold this up like that, and so you can pour the oil into your generator without hanging on to it. So I made this this morning, and I call it the Busy Man Oil Filler. So what it does is that basically, if you have a hacksaw and some spare wood, I've got this thing measured so it's pretty much the height of my generator, and I just put some feet on it. And now I'm not a carpenter, so it looks kind of poor quality, but it works for me because I'm not going to put an awful lot of weight on it. It just has a hook right here to hook your funnel. So this is what you do. So I just put my little handy oil filler here, and then I connect it just so, and then I put it into the engine. Now, since I got that mounted, I don't have to hold on to it anymore. So instead of having to stand kneel here and wait for the rest of the oil to go into the engine, now I can do it just like I do with my tractors, which I just usually have the funnel that goes into the engine of my tractor, and then I just kind of balance it there. Well, now I can actually balance that empty bottle to finish draining into my engine. So that works pretty good. So to check your oil, if you're going to use this generator for emergency backup like I am, I'm going to check my oil every time before I start it up. And so the tools that I need are here. I need my rag, I need a flashlight, and my kneeling pad. Now this flashlight right here is actually just a $1 flashlight from Walmart. So let's see here. So it puts out enough light so you can actually see inside your generator. And it's not bad for $1. So I have a few fixes, and maybe if you decide to get this generator yourself, to have a few little modifications that you can actually make your job go faster with checking things out before you fire it up or while you're changing oil. I did a test the other night, and I wanted to see if I could actually start this generator in the dark. And what I mean by that is that I came into this very room without a flashlight or any lights turned on. I just wanted to see if I could actually start the thing, because one of the things that I do in my equipment is that before a storm hits, and when I know something's brewing, I'm going to check the oil in my generator. So every time the power goes out, I can just start the thing without having to worry about whether if I checked it or not, because I know I did. And the nice thing about my test was that I can start this generator without one light on in this entire room, and it's dark outside too. So I just walked back here and was able to do it. And let me show you why it is so easy to start it in the dark. One of the things I noticed with this generator is last night is the fact that the power switch for the startup unit, the red button there, is right above the push start button. So all I have to do is come in, turn around, put my hands on the start button, and then just go up a few fingers and then just flip the on switch, then turn the thing on. So I don't have to really have a good light source or any light at all to start this thing. I mean, yeah, I could do it with remote control, but I'd rather not have to have the battery tender plugged into it just to have this in standby mode. Basically on my generator, I'm using the 240 twisted lock plug on my generator, for the fact that it has 30 amps and I can do 2 receptacles on one cable. So let me show you that box now and how I got that set up. I'm not going to take it apart to show you the wiring. I'm just going to tell you what I've done. So this plug right here, I've got connected to this gray cable, and I've got this little box I made with the 2 receptacles. So basically I've got 120 on this receptacle and 120 on that receptacle. And those two are basically, these are independent receptacles, and that one just, so basically if you were to combine the 2 hots together, you would get 240. But since I'm not using 240, basically what happens is that these 2 lines are 120 and they go back to the receptacles in my home. And maybe someday I will send the 240 to the house and then split it from there so I can run either 240 and 120 devices. Now if you have children, I recommend just using gasoline. I mean, this propane setup that I have is dangerous for the fact that you can take it off and the propane will leak out the hose. So let me show you what I'm talking about now with this propane tank. And the other thing I want to say before I show you the propane is the fact that the other thing that's kind of a bust about their hose that they sent with this system is the fact that it's not long enough to run the propane far enough away from the generator. Now yes, if you have a generator that's outside, but if you've seen my other videos before, I just open up this back door here. Let me swing around here. I'm not sure exactly which side it's on here. Right here. So this back door here is what I open up to let the exhaust out. Now why I say that this propane operation is dangerous is because if you have kids monkeying around and they think they're going to be funny and they're going to take this propane off, let me show you. I'm not going to waste my propane doing it either. Alright, I'm going to come over to my tank. So, right here's the end of the hose that goes into the generator. Now, if the kids mess with this, let me try to get this up here so it doesn't make too much of a mess. So, this is off and this is loose. And this, the gas will just go right through it. I'll show you. You hear that? That's the gas. I don't want to waste my gas doing it. But if I take this off, now there's safety in these tanks. So if I were to take this thing off and I do the same thing here, there's no gas. So it stops it from coming out of the tank. But having this propane hose connected to the tank basically defeats the purpose of the safety valve inside these tanks. So any kid can just monkey around with it, light a match or what have you, and blow themselves up the kingdom come. So now it will fire up again. Yeah. So that's the only safety issue that I find out with having propane connected to this thing. The other things that I found kind of, well, it's kind of not as good as I thought it should be. The handle that transport your generator from point A to point B is in the back. Now, it would have made more sense to have it right off in the front. Let me show you that right now. So right here is the handle to the generator, so that you can get that, so you can move it. Now, there is this bar right here on the front that if it was, if I had the locks off, you could actually pull it forward. But I've got it all locked up because basically the generator is going to stay right here in this corner, all hooked up and ready to go. Now, the other thing that I mentioned is that this generator is insulated, so it will produce less noise since it's insulated, versus my Honda generator, which has no insulation whatsoever. I'm not going to take the whole thing apart. I'm just going to show you my oiling compartment, because all both the left side and the right side doors have the insulation in it already. But all you need to see is that my oil door has it, but I'm not going to have to really show you the rest of it, because it's all throughout the entire generator. So when you look at this oil door, so this is the little door that I pulled right off here. This has all that foamy insulation in it on this door as well as on the other side of the door, on the opposite side of the generator over here. So basically this is what's keeping your generator noise down to a bare roar. And that's another thing I should cover. It was about the extended warranty. Now, Lowe's wanted to sell me an extended warranty for $350 some odd dollars. And it wasn't worth it because it was paralleling the other manufacturer's warranty, so that was worthless. So there's a lot of things to consider when you are thinking about buying a Duromax, and I'm going to do some more test runs, and I'll make some more videos so you can decide whether what you want to do with this, if you want to buy one of these or not. Now, if you're wondering why I chose the Duramax over the other three generators that I looked at, so I did research on Honda and Predator and Duramax. And the rest of them I didn't really care to look at, because I didn't want a standalone backup generator to plug into the house that I have to have somebody specially to wire into my home. I just wanted to be able to move this generator around from place to place, wherever I wanted to go, or wherever I needed it. Mainly I'm just going to need it right here. But just in case if I had to move it someplace, I could. And I don't have to just leave it here. So, during my research, Predator and Duramax were basically side-by-side equal generators. Now, the thing that I found in my research is that the Duramax was a little bit more money. So they were about, for just without tax, the Duramax was $2,600 at Lowe's, and the Predator was $2,000. And then the Honda, which I outruled during my research, was $5,000 before. I mean, that's even without tax calculated. That's just the base price of them selling the system. So why I chose Duramax was for the fact that, yes, I paid, a little bit more money for the Duramax than the Predator, but it was, and both systems had things that I did not like about it. So the Predator had something I liked, the Duramax had something I didn't like but liked. So I went with something that I could say, okay, I'm getting my money's worth out of the Duramax versus the Predator or the Honda. Now, the Honda was about 5,550 watts for the continuous running power. and the surge power, which is the peak, was less than the Duramax. Now, yes, Predator had more surge capacity. I think they were about 9,500 watts. So it's 9,500 watts versus 9,000 watts for surge. But the thing that got me to thinking about the Duramax is the fact that it has dual fuel capable. And it had remote start, but I didn't care about the remote start because that was pretty much just, I felt like, useless. But I like the idea of being able to have the option to go with either gasoline or propane gas. And that's what, and the wattage was, relatively where I needed it to be, so that outruled Honda. Now, Predator was still the same running watch, it was 7,600, but the thing that led me not to buy the Predator was for the fact that the system was only gas powered. So you couldn't just hook up propane to it if you wanted to, or use gas. You had to use just gasoline. And the thing that really kind of aggravated about the Predator, me for it, was just like, nah, I don't even like that, was the fact that they said that if basically they were forcing you to use fuel stabilizer. Now, personally, I don't use fuel stabilizer because I run so much gas all the time. It's always fresh. So it's never sitting around in my home, in the garage. So, I felt that was I felt like that was a turnoff right there, is that they weren't going to give me warranty unless I used fuel stabilizer. Well, what is it up to them if I use fuel stabilizer or not? That was totally a biggest turnoff right there. So that really was the sour apple out of the whole bunch. And yes, the handle for the Predator was in the front that I liked, but there's a whole bunch of other things I didn't like about it, for the fact that it did have electric start, and basically if you compared Apple for Apple, it was basically the same design. The exhaust was on the same side of the generator, the roll pull was on the same side of the generator, but it didn't have a nice LCD screen like this unit has. It has, it was laid out your wattage, your hours, your hertz, a whole bunch of stuff that Predator didn't give you when you bought their system. Now, when I did my research, I made a lot of phone calls. So I called the Predator hotline there. Well, it wasn't Predator, but it was. I can't think of the store right now that they're associated with. Harbor Freight. That's it. Yeah, Harbor Freight. So I called the Harbor Freight hotline to get technical support for the Predator, just to see what and how long it would take me to get service. Well, I got nowhere with Predator's technical service. They basically just said, sorry, please leave a message at the tone and we'll call you back. I don't want them to call me back. I want to talk to somebody now. I don't want to wait for them to call me back. Now, when I called Duramax, yes, Duramax was, not a 24-hour hotline either, but at least I got to somebody eventually. Now, I'm sure that the generator that I got is just fine. I hope it lasts for a good long time. But when it comes down to buying a generator, the best thing that you're better doing is try to do all the research you can on it. Call family, friends, neighbors, other people, co-workers, to see if they ever heard of anybody using like Duramax or or Predator. I've had people in my family say, "Oh, I know somebody that has a Predator," and they say they like it pretty well, but I couldn't really talk to the person that owned it, and so I got some good, you know, some good feedback about the Predator, but then I also got some bad feedback about the store, about that, that they had, you could return it, if something happened, even after the return period is over with, if something happened, you could return it. So that made me kind of like, well, I don't know. But that is something that you ought to look into, and since everything is online, that's the place to start looking. And although that my research left me kind of confused, saying, well, I don't know if it's that good of a generator or not, I have no clue. And I don't know really which one to go with. I knew that Honda was not electric start, and I called the company. I was like, all right, this is an electric start, and I'm paying $5,000 for this thing? No. You give me electric start for $5,000. That was ridiculous. And so that totally eliminated that generator. And that was just the two runner-ups was Predator and Duramax. So it just depends on what you want to do. I recommend going with a dual fuel because you can have, if you have propane there at your home, whether you heat with propane or natural gas. I mean, you can't use natural gas with this thing, but propane you can use if you have a big propane tank. I recommend that, as well as the gasoline. Except that, buy the good stuff. If you're going to buy the cheap stuff, don't waste your money and spending on a good generator like this. Now, like I said, I'll have to see whether my suspicions are right or not. If it is good, it should be for the price. So I hope that helps you kind of get your creative thinking process going and kind of get it so you're like, well, okay, this is what I need to look for, this and that. Because like I said, I can't really recommend it until I have a good run and make sure that everything is working good. I just wanted to give you kind of the heads up of the pros and cons of this thing and what to be wary of. Take note of some of the dangers with the propane. So I hope you get some information out of this video. If you know somebody that's looking at a generator or just needs help just understanding some of the lingo jingo that goes with these things, that you just send them the video link, and I would appreciate that. And I'm here to help you or anybody else that's watching this video. So I'll talk to you later, and you have a great day. Bye-bye for now.